Hello, Bronco fans and football fans everywhere. Welcome to Broncos Breakdown on the MHRT Network. This is a show that is everything Broncos and sports topics related. I am your host, Bronco Bill. Let's get started, guys. Hope everyone had a great weekend. And let's just jump into some of these topics that I have in regards to the Broncos and NFL around the league, as well as a Colorado Avalanche update, of course. And I do have an update on the jackass of the week. Okay, let's get into this. First off, let's start with the schedule release. The Denver Broncos have 5 primetime games, along with a London game and a Christmas Day game. Now, in my show that I did on MHRT Network Live for the very first time on Broncos Breakdown last Friday, I revealed in my prediction that the Broncos would go 12-5. And the reason why I said that is because I don't feel they're going 17-0. That's why I said 12-5. There are a couple of games that it's going to be a fun season. And Russell Wilson's definitely going to lead this team. And I don't feel we're going 7-10 like we did last year. So if you guys want to watch that show, go to on YouTube, go to MHRT, look up Friday's show. It was a live one. And I had a couple of guests on there, and we went through the schedule and revealed our predictions. Anyways, the 5 primetime games the Broncos have is the very first week. It is September 12th. It's against Seattle Seahawks at Seattle. Now, that's going to be a very fun game. It's going to be an emotional game, obviously, for Russell Wilson, as well as Drew Lock being on the Seahawks and Noah Fant. And it's going to be a fun game to watch. And then on September 25th, it's a primetime Sunday night, and that is at home against the San Francisco 49ers. Again, a good measure of where the Broncos might be early in the season, because Russell Wilson knows the 49ers. He played against them twice a year in Seattle as a member of the Seahawks. But this one's in Denver. It's going to be emotional. It's the second home game for the Broncos, and it's a primetime game. So that one's going to be special. Then on October 6th, it's a home game against the Indianapolis Colts. That's a Thursday night game. That's going to be a great game. And then the very next game the Broncos have on October 17th is a Monday night game, and that's at the LA Chargers. So there's 4 right there that's primetime, and those are key right off the bat. And then we go to December, and this one is going to be a barn burner because we don't know where the Broncos will be at this point in time. It's November 11th. It's a Sunday night game. It's a home game against the Kansas City Chiefs. That's going to be a great measuring stick as to where Denver is in regards to standings and in regards to any playoff possibilities and implications. That's the 5th game. The other 2 games that are not considered primetime is a Christmas Day game against the Los Angeles Rams. That's also in LA. And that's a Sunday afternoon game. That one starts 2:30 p.m. Mountain Time. Then the other one is the London game, and that one's against Jacksonville. And that one is, let me find this. Let me find it real quick, guys. That one is October 30th. It's against Jacksonville, and it's considered an away game for the Broncos. But it's also an away game for Jacksonville of sorts because it's in London. But Jacksonville will be the home team, considered home team. And that one's October 30th. But here's the catch. It is Sunday morning, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 my time Pacific. That's going to be a tough one to watch live. But I'm going to record it, as I always record all Bronco games. So I'll be able to see it at a more convenient time for myself. But those are 5 primetime games the Broncos have, along with 2 games that I consider primetime because it's the only game that's being played at that time. Obviously, 4:30 in the morning on a Sunday is not ideal for NFL games to start. However, being in being in London, that's when it's going to be played on the West Coast. The other one is a Sunday afternoon game, and that's also the only game being played at that time. So to me, it's 5 considered prime time, real prime time, and the other 2 I consider prime time because it's the only games going on at that time. All right, let's move on to Jerry Jeudy. Now, a lot of people have asked me, some of my friends have said, oh, is this Jerry Jeudy going to be your jackass of the week? My answer to this is absolutely not. Not because I'm sheltering any Broncos from jackass of the week. That's not what I do. I don't do that. If you're a legitimate jackass of the week, you're going to be on my show. Reason why Jerry Jeudy is not on as jackass of the week is because of the following. Now, let me bring you up to date on this. Now, Jerry Jeudy was arrested on a misdemeanor charge, but the judge said there isn't any evidence that Jeudy committed any physical harm to his girlfriend, and all the charges have been dropped. Now, in case you don't know what happened, there was an altercation, verbal. Jerry Jeudy took some items of his girlfriend's, some medical records, some other things, put them in his car, and would not allow her to get them. We don't know the circumstances of what the argument was about. That's irrelevant at this point because the judge said that there is no physical harm. There's no evidence that Jerry Jeudy was ever going to perform any physical harm, and therefore no charges have been attached to Jerry Jeudy. So that's the reason why he is not considered to be the jackass of the week on my show. You have to actually have done something that was considered a crime of any sort or something of that nature. So that's the issue on the Jerry Jeudy topic, and we move on. All right, the Denver Broncos sale. Now, the sale of the Denver Broncos could reach $5 billion, which would smash the NFL record for purchasing an NFL team. The most recent one was just under $3 billion. And I believe that was for, I'm not sure, but I think that was for Jacksonville Jaguars or one of those Southern teams. The Broncos, obviously Rob Walton can buy it outright. And I've mentioned many times I don't want a Rob Walton, but I've kind of come around to realize that if Rob Walton buys the Denver Broncos, he would not need any taxpayer money from Colorado. He wouldn't need anything of that nature, not only to purchase the team, but more importantly, to build a new stadium that he said that he would plan on doing should he become the Broncos' new owner. Now, if that's the case, and there's going to be a brand new stadium somewhere in Colorado, whether it's downtown in the same footprint that Empower Field is now, or if it's going to be out by the airport, or if it's going to be somewhere in between downtown and the airport, that's to be determined down the road. However, should a Rob Walton become owner, he could build that stadium and not even use any taxpayer money. That would be absolutely the best scenario for anybody living in Colorado, be the best scenario for everyone involved. It'd be best scenario for himself. That way he could build it the way he wants to. He can put whatever kind of money he wants to into it. He can make it as elaborate as he wants. And he could also make it similar to SoFi Stadium in LA, where you have surrounding businesses. You have surrounding areas like, let's say, a park or an amusement center or something that could be used year round. And so the stadium just doesn't sit idle after the 17 weeks of the NFL season. Since there's 52 weeks in a year, that would basically only be 1/3, or maybe actually more, close to 1/3 of the time that the stadium would be used if you don't build surrounding buildings and infrastructure around to keep that area active and productive and profitable the entire season. That makes sense. If you have to use taxpayer money to get it done, well, we've seen what that happens. The Chargers moved to LA. The Raiders moved from Oakland to Vegas. The Rams moved from St. Louis back to LA. There's a lot of movement when you have to involve taxpayer money because it comes to a vote. if Rob Walton owns the Broncos and pays basically cash out $5 billion or more, and then decides to build a stadium, one that the Broncos haven't seen the likes of. It could be a retractable roof, it could be a dome, it could be an open stadium. That would be his choice. But the bottom line is he could get it done any way he wants, anywhere he wants, but stay in Colorado, of course. And he could do it without taxpayer money, which is perfect. So we don't know when the Broncos are officially going to be sold. There still are other groups that are in the mix, but they don't have the cash value relatively that a Rob Walton has. So that's the latest update on the Broncos sale. All right, let's move to Drew Brees. Now, after just one season as a studio and game analyst, Drew Brees has been let go by NBC. Brees said he preferred calling games over studio work. However, the NBC brass soured on Drew Brees as a commentator. I don't know why. I don't know if there was any issues behind the scenes that they just didn't like. But Drew Brees has been let go as a studio and game analyst. That's obviously before the games. Now, his idea was that he wanted to be a commentator much like Chris Collinsworth. Well, the NBC studio brass, they wanted him to develop into being that type of a commentator. But apparently, Drew Brees isn't at that level yet. So he's been let go. Drew Brees has said that he doesn't know where he's going to go from here, doesn't know if he wants to get back into football, which would be interesting, or he doesn't know if he's going to pursue other endeavors. That hasn't been decided yet. But what has been decided is Drew Brees will not return for season 2 at NBC. So that's it. The latest on any Drew Brees sightings or seeing on any pregame of NBC football games. All right. Now, let's go to an update on, you got it, guys, Jackass of the Week. Okay. The update of the Jackass of the Week involves Earl Thomas. Now, if you recall, in a previous show, I had Jackass of the Week was Earl Thomas. And the reason why is because he was he had a warrant out for his arrest in regards to violating, it was a felony, third degree felony of violating the protective order. And he did that 2 or more times in a 12-month period. So the warrant was out for his arrest. He would not turn himself in, which is relatively stupid. And so therefore, the warrant was issued. They've been looking, the police have been looking for Earl Thomas all this time. Well, guess what? Earl Thomas had a warrant out for his arrest recently for a 3rd-degree felony for violating the protective order 2 or more times in a 12-month period. He was arrested last Friday after a patron in a Texas restaurant noticed Earl Thomas, called the police, and they arrested him at that restaurant in Texas. Don't know when the trial is going to be, if there is a trial. Don't know any other circumstances beyond that. But Earl Thomas has been officially arrested for violating the protective order 2 or more times in a 12-month period. Now, here's my thing, guys. If you have a warrant out for your arrest and you know that you've done something wrong, why do you do it 2 or more times in a 12-month period? You have a 3rd-degree felony for violating the protective order. I don't know what the protective order is for. The article didn't say. But what I am saying about his situation is, why would, if you have a protective order, let's say you have a custody battle order or something of that nature, and you know you're not supposed to do what you're doing. Let's say you have a restraining order and you're not supposed to be within 1,000 yards of a business or a home or a school, wherever the case may be, and you violate that. Now you have gone against what you are supposed to do. Now you've escalated and elevated the the situation against you. I don't know why a person would do that. It's like anything else. If you're not supposed to do something, why do you do it? I know you think you can get away with it. You think you're above the law, all of that thing, all of that. I get it to a point. I don't get it personally, but I get it to a point because some people think they're above the law. Well, you're not. Absolutely not. And especially if you do it 2 or more times in a 12-month period when you know you're not supposed to. So Earl Thomas has been arrested. I don't know when the arraignment's going to be or any of that. But when I do find out, I will definitely bring you an update. So that's the latest on Earl Thomas, Jackass of the Week. All right, I move on. Let's go to Mark Davis. Mark Davis, the owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. Well, Mark Davis is in some hot water, and here's why. Raiders owner Mark Davis is in some hot water amongst allegations of troubling economic issues and retaliatory firings. Numerous firings or resignations of front office people has been linked to Mark Davis and his conduct of a hostile work environment. The NFL's office has said to be looking into this, as well as the ongoing situation with the Washington Commanders. That's right. Washington Commanders and the Miami Dolphins. Oh boy. The NFL has the power and the authority. It's their league. They can do this. They have the power and the authority to force owners to sell their team if they deem their conduct to their personnel in their team, whether it be people in the front office, whether it be people in the cafeteria, whether it be the crew that cleans up the place, or whether it be the players. If there is conduct detrimental to the league's policy, they can force an owner to sell their team. NFL's looking into the Washington Commanders. They're also looking into the Miami Dolphins. And now it looks like they're going to look into allegations of Mark Davis having a hostile work environment. If that's the case, they could force Mark Davis to sell the team. Now, here's the issue. The thing is that there has been numerous resignations and or firings of front office people. Now, why would people resign that's been there 23 years or 30 plus years or even a couple, 2 or 3 years? Why? Because if it's a hostile environment and you don't feel that you have the respect or the treatment that is deserved of you, not you personally, but a person in that situation. If a person is feeling like they can't do their job because this, that, or the other, they're going to leave, or they're going to bring this matter to the attention of the NFL. And that is what has happened. Is some of these people that have been fired or threatened by Mark Davis to be fired have gone to the league office and have brought to their attention these allegations and these situations. And now the NFL is looking into it. And should they find that there is conduct detrimental to the NFL, they could force Mark Davis to sell the Raiders. What does that mean? That means anyone's guess. Does that mean the Raiders again move out of Vegas after they've just had that stadium built? I don't think so. I really don't think so. But it does bring to light some of these things that are taking place by 3 teams now in the NFL that pose a significant problem to the league. Would I like to see Mark Davis have to sell the Raiders? Not necessarily. It's never good when the organization has to force someone to sell. That's not good. That's not a good look. That's not a good. It's not good for anybody. It's not good for the league. It's not good for the players. It's not good for anybody. But I thought this is quite interesting that now Mark Davis is in the same type of situation that the Miami Dolphins are and the Washington Commanders are in regards to how they operate and conduct their football team. Let's stay with the Raiders on the next topic. And this is extremely interesting. Now, the Raiders were considered by the NFL to be moved to St. Louis. The NFL wanted to move the Raiders to St. Louis when the Rams moved from St. Louis back to LA. And the reason being is because St. Louis is a great market for football. But Stan Kroenke wanted to move back to LA to build the kind of stadium he wanted that he could not apparently get permission to build in St. Louis. So he moved back to LA and built the stadium he wanted to build. So the interesting thing is that the NFL wanted to bring the Raiders, who were upset and having issues in Oakland, to try and get a new stadium there or an upgrade or something of that nature. They wanted out of Oakland, and the NFL wanted to put them in St. Louis. Well, Mark Davis disagreed. He didn't want that. So let me read what it says. When the Rams moved back to LA from St. Louis, the NFL considered moving the Raiders to the St. Louis region. The Raiders were unhappy in Oakland and were looking to move. However, the Raiders fought that move and ended up in Las Vegas. Now, of course, whenever you move, it's a vote that has to take place. And when the Raiders didn't want to go to St. Louis, the vote never came through for them to move there. But it was approved by the NFL and the NFL's owners to let the Raiders move to Las Vegas. Now, I have friends that live in Vegas, and they've told me that ever since the Raiders moved there, there's been a lot of not so good things that have happened there. Not from the players, not from the organization, but the fans. And Vegas, of course, being what they call Sin City, it doesn't bode well to have. Let's just. I'll put it this way. Let's just put it this way. Things have been different. Things have been different in Vegas since the Raiders moved there. But in any case, it was just interesting that the NFL wanted to move the Raiders to St. Louis because of their market there, but instead was allowed to have the Raiders move to Las Vegas. Okay, let's go to Monday Night Football. Now, beginning in 2023, the NFL season there will be 3 doubleheaders on Monday Night Football, as well as flex scheduling beginning with Week 14. This season, there's just 1 doubleheader on Monday Night Football, and that comes in Week 2 with these games: Tennessee Titans, Buffalo Bills, as well as the Minnesota Vikings and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, that's interesting. I like that idea. I really, really do like that idea. It showcases more teams on prime time. It allows earlier games, let's say games that start at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. Let's say it's an East Coast team. Let's say it is Minnesota and Philadelphia. I'll use these games here, or it could be Tennessee, Buffalo, and that game could be at 4:30 in the afternoon. So the East Coast would be able to see their East Coast teams in prime time. And then in the later game that starts, let's say, at 7:30 on the West Coast, that could be West Coast teams. Let's say it's the Denver Broncos and the, Houston Texans, or the Denver Broncos and the Vegas Raiders, or the LA Chargers, or Seattle, any West Coast type of team, Mountain, West, that type of thing. That would be the late game. And now, instead of just 1 doubleheader on Monday night per year, we're going to have 3. That's great. That's more opportunity to showcase teams to the markets. That's a brilliant idea by the NFL. Absolutely brilliant idea. No doubt. And then flexing games on Monday night, which is something that they haven't done. They flex games on Sunday night. And they've been doing that for several years, and that's perfect. Because let's say the scheduled games are, let's say, Cleveland and Houston. Let's say Cleveland and Houston are on a Monday night. in week 15. Okay. But you have the Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos on a Sunday game in the afternoon at 1 o'clock. Well, that would be a perfect game to flex into week 15. Let's say Kansas City and Denver are tied for first in week 15. And they're scheduled to be on Sunday afternoon at 1:30 Pacific time. And Cleveland and Houston are scheduled to be Monday night. And Cleveland and Houston are in last place in their divisions. Well, nobody wants to see that game in week 15. You want to see a game like Kansas City and Denver, who are both tied for first, let's say. Okay? That game could be flexed into Monday night, and the Cleveland-Houston game will be flexed out on Monday and back into Sunday. That makes sense. That makes sense. And it makes sense from the standpoint of viewership. It makes sense in standpoint of ratings. It makes sense in standpoint of all these different things. So I absolutely love that idea. And I sure hope that that Denver's in the position to be flexed into some of those kind of games. That would be great. That would absolutely be great. Okay, I move on to the last segment of this show, and here it is. Okay, guys, Colorado Avalanche enter the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs beginning tonight. The game kicks off at 6:30 Pacific time, 7:30 Mountain time. The Colorado Avalanche begin their second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight at Ball Arena against the St. Louis Blues. After sweeping the Nashville Predators, this series doesn't look like it's going to be a cakewalk. Oh, no. Oh, no, it's not going to be a cakewalk. The St. Louis Blues and the Colorado Avalanche played 3 games in the season last year, or this past season. The Avalanche won 2 and lost 1. Now, that's only 3 games. So in a 3-game series, yes, the Avalanche would have won the series 2-1. This is not a 3-game series. This is a 7-game series. And it starts tonight. And the first 2 games are in Colorado. The next 2 are in St. Louis. And then games 5 and 7, if necessary, are in Colorado. Game 6 would be back in St. Louis. Now, here's the thing. St. Louis Blues are a very, very tough team. They're a solid team. They have solid defensemen. They have scorers. They have a great goaltender. But Darcy Kemper having those extra rest with the Avalanche sweeping the Nashville Predators 4-0, and then the St. Louis Blues, as well as other teams, not the Blues. The Blues won in 6 games, but the other teams went 7 games. The other games went 7 games. Therefore, the NHL had to push back the Avalanche and Blues game from what would have been possibly Saturday or Sunday into Tuesday. That gave the injured Darcy Kemper, if you remember, guys, he took a stick right below his eye in a Nashville game. It was accidental, but he had to leave game 3, couldn't play game 4, and was much needed rest. He's now able to be back in net starting tonight against the St. Louis Blues. That is great, great news because Darcy Kemper is our number 1 goalie. Now, should the Avalanche win, obviously they'd have a leg up against St. Louis, heading into game 2 on Thursday night. So let's hope that the Avalanche get the win. It's not going to be easy. I'm saying that I say the Avalanche win the series. It's not going to be a sweep. I'm not saying 4-0, but I believe the Avalanche will win the series, and they'll go at least 5, but most likely 6. I think the Avalanche will win the series 4-2. That's it, guys. That's all I have. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And remember, on Tuesday, on YouTube channel, my Broncos Breakdown show drops on Tuesday, 11 a.m. for your viewing. However, this one I got a lot of detail, and I got a lot of different things that came up. I couldn't get this thing dropped at 11, but it will be posted soon after 11, hopefully around 11:30. All right, guys, that's my show on Broncos Breakdown on Tuesdays. Also on MHRT Network Live is a 5280 podcast. It's hosted by Madungus Creevy and his panel. That's live every Tuesday, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then on Wednesday, it is the Wild Wild West on MHRT Network. That's live every 4:30, 5:30, 6:30, 7:30. That features a fan from every AFC West team: Broncos, Raiders, Chargers, and Chiefs. That's live every Wednesday. And then on Thursday is Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast. That's live every 4, 5, 6, and 7. That features Johnny Baki and his really good friend Isaiah Henderson. That's every Thursday live. And then on Friday is Broncos Breakdown on MHRT Network. That is posted every Friday, 11, 12, 1, and 2. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I hope you have a very, very wonderful, wonderful week. And I'll be back on Friday and give you an update on the Colorado Avalanche as well as other news. Till then, guys, have a wonderful week. We'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.